Hello everyone, welcome to the program. I'm your host Mike Ventura. It's certainly my pleasure to have you with us today. So today we're going to talk a little bit about plant physiology and how a plant functions. So here's a stem, and it's off a stem of a basal plant. And you notice that little green tissue that is on the plant. That green tissue is called cambium. And cambium is actually called the life of the plant. And I'll tell you why. The tissue behind that cambium on the inside produces cells which ultimately turn into tissue called xylem. Cambium on the outside produces cells which ultimately turn into tissue called phloem. Now, and this is a freeway system that's happening inside of the plant. What's important is phloem is the tissue that goes all the way through the entire plant, all the way to the last leaf of the plant, if it's a tree, all the way to the top. And it, during the photosynthetic process, as carbohydrates are being made, carbohydrates travel down the phloem tissue, and they ultimately stored in parts of the plant, but mainly in the root system. On the xylem tissue, which is cells that are made on the inside of cambium, those cells, that tissue, it is in part of the root system, specifically the white root hairs of the plant, because those are the workhorses of the root system. They're the ones that grab around a soil particle and pick up the nutrients that's on a soil particle, and consequently it pumps those nutrients up through the vascular system, through the xylem tissue, and carries them all the way up the entire plant. It makes flowers, fruit production, new leaves. That's what it does. So after a plant's been pruned, what does the plant automatic response does? It goes to and says, hey, I got to produce brand new, more food, so I got to grab food that's stored inside the root system through xylem tissue and pump it up inside the plant. What is interesting about the cambium, when you're going to go through, and let's say you've got plant material that looks like it may not be doing so well, you can take a look at cambium. Healthy cambium is light green or dark green, and it's always moist to the touch. You can feel the moisture on there. If cambium is dry, dull, if it's streaking, if it's discolored, those are indications that the cambium might be dying or might not be performing as well as it should be performing. You don't want to have any streaking in the cambium. That's a bad sign. Now, that could be a bad sign. So you want to see, as I said, you want to check and see how deep is the plant actually in the ground, how much moisture is inside your soil, if you have a compacted soil. All these factors are leading up, and there's other factors, cultural factors that can lead up to what causes a cambium tissue to not have proper color and to not have moisture. Because if the root system isn't picking up moisture and it's not carrying through the plant, cambium tissue can decline. And so consequently, you always want to take a look and see how the plant is performing from the crown of the plant, and especially during the growing season. Is it producing a new crown? Is it producing the foliage it should be producing? And if not, take a look at the cambium. That's always a good place to start. And see how that cambium looks. You can scrape away some of the bark and take a look at the color of the cambium. But again, healthy cambium should be a light to dark green in color and should be moist. It should not be streaking or discolored. Okay? So that's a real quick and dirty on plant physiology. So with that, welcome to the garden.